morning and welcome everyone. To start our program, let's call on our Microsoft certified trainers from Union Bank. You're on, guys.
Okay, thank you for that, Lay. Good morning, good morning. Happy weekend to everyone. Yan. So I see that there are now around 84 to 85 participants in this webinar. So this is our third webinar with TIMS, EduRescue and AcadAsia together with UB Accelerator Program and our City Savings Bank. Yan. Our City Savings Bank partner and teachers all over the country. Welcome everyone. As you have been seeing from our screen from the beginning, we would like to encourage everyone, for those who haven't signed up yet, please sign up and enroll to heroes2021.org. Okay, so at the end of this talk, we will also be giving you reminders and steps on how can we register. All right? Kamusta naman po kayo? Okay naman kayo lahat? Right. So with me this morning are my partners, okay, Miss Jenny Tituco of HR and Miss Bas Avelino as well, coming from HR. So we're HR ladies, human resources. Yan. So Miss Jenny, say hi.
Hi.
For those who don't know you yet, yan. Hi Miss Jenny. Miss Bas.
Hi everyone, good morning. I see people,
Good
teachers
morning.
in the Visayas area. Good morning. Maayong buntag.
Wow. Wala akong ibang alam na dialect sa Filipino. So, I'll leave it to Miss Bas and Miss Jen. Okay?
Pwede rin
Alright,
English.
so we're now on our third... Pwede rin English. Yes, English. Okay. So, we're now on our third talk on flexible learning. So, we have learned about understanding our learners, how we can implement flexible learning as teachers. And the third one that we have for this morning is a teacher's guide to flexible learning from home. Okay, so to start with, due to the pandemic, so these are our, you can see my pointer naman, no? So these are the pictures of our classrooms under normal circumstances in the past. No? So wherein children get to work together, they have their specific areas for activity, all right? So for others, di ba meron tayong mga gardens sa school dati wherein we get to put our mango plants, okay? Mga mango plants natin or other plants. Meron tayong hanging plants, may orchids, mahal yung orchids. So marami na rin tayong plantita. Sa mga teachers natin, for sure yan, meron tayong mga plantitas ngayong quarantine. No? Ang challenge sa atin ngayong mga guro is that how do we bring in the flexible learning environment to our students. Students who are now learning from a distance. No more physical classrooms, no more physical playgrounds, no more gardens or greenhouse that you can go to. No more field trips at the moment. So how do we bring them all in to this? Okay, so to start with, let me call on Miss Jenny.
So, for us to fit in this environment na meron nga tayong pandemic, we have to be adaptable and flexible. So, what is about adaptability and flexibility skills? Adaptability is ability to change or to be changed to fit certain circumstances. And what is a flexibility skill? It is a skill na you have the capacity to bend usually, but not to break. So it's like, makikita nyo dyan sa drawing natin, no? Isang girl na nag-yoga. So, yung katawan natin, di ba, usually, kaya niya yan na mag-bend hanggang saan for as long as titingnan lang natin or unti-unti natin gagawin na iayon siya sa kung saan natin siya gustong papuntahin, di ba? So usually, tayong mga Pinoy is magaling tayong mag-adapt sa anong klase ng mga sitwasyon.
Yes, Miss Jenny, tama ka dyan. No? Ay, maniniwala ako na magaling mag-adapt ang mga Pilipino sa iba't ibang sitwasyon. Lalo na sa bayanihan, makikita natin kapag may trahedya na nangyari, may bagyo, may lindol, may bulkan man na sumabog o pumutok nitong simula ng 2020, pasabog talaga, no? Filipinos are very resilient and Filipinos have the grit and determination and of course the positive attitude. This is one of the best, these are some of the best attitudes of Filipinos. Very resilient, malalakas ang loob, babangon at babangon, okay? We don't give up, right? So with that, Miss Jenny, I have a question for you. As
Yes,
teachers, how might we support our students' flexible learning environment?
So here it is. We will share to you the 8 ways to support your student flexibility. Let me start with number 1, help students problem solve. So what does this mean? For example, we have students na they're not coping with the lessons or they are not doing anything. Let us dig deep for what is the problem of the student and help her or him to do kung ano yung task na ibinigay natin sa kanya. Let us or in everyday lesson natin, use natin na paano sila matulungan, ganyan. At gumawa sila ng paraan kung paano din nila matutulungan yung kanilang mga sarili. Next then, be explicit on teaching them flexibility. So, paano ba ito? Dapat we teach out loud during yung everyday lesson natin. Magbigay tayo ng mga clear example na naiintindihan nila, clear para sa kanila kung ano yung gusto nating instruction during the classes. For example, the student, di ba, for example, ganito, we're using projector and then nasira yung projector natin. So sasabihin mo doon sa bata na, okay, kids, nasira yung projector natin or something na needs natin para sa classroom natin ngayon and I'm giving you a hard copy of materials na gagamitin ninyo. By this, maiintindihan nila yung meaning ng flexibility na hindi lahat ng problem is mabigat agad. Teach them at an early age na sa lahat ng problema is may solusyon. Huwag nilang isipin agad na mahihirapan na sila agad on this. And the next, then, teach self-advocacy skills. Okay, let me give you an example of this. For example, one of your students is having a problem during virtual learnings ng lessons ninyo. Like nakikita niyo siya parang hindi niya naiintindihan yung klase or parang nagkukunot yung noo niya. Tapos in-notice niyo siya, nakita ninyo na parang nasisilaw pala siya dun sa light, for example. So, kausapin niyo yung student yun na yun, out siguro, individual na. So, ask him or her, ano ba yung problem mo kanina? Ba't parang nawawala ka or nalolos ka sa discussion natin? So, sasabihin niya ng bata, parang sabi niya, parang napansin ko, nasisilaw ka yata sa light, kaya hindi ka masyadong nakakapag-participate. There, sasabihin mo sa kanya ng suggestion na siguro you have to find place in your house na hindi ka masyadong masisilaw para makinabang ka sa mga lessons natin at hindi ka na-agitate doon sa sitwasyon mo na yon. Ganon yung ganon yung kailangan natin na ituro sa kanila, di ba? And then next then, a good feedback system. Use a high ratio of praise to correction. A safe environment to commit failures and learn from it. Okay. So, sa bahay, ginagawa natin to. Gagawin din natin to dun sa mga student natin. Sabi nga nila, sa bawat isa na correction mo na sasabihin sa student mo or sa anak mo, 4 doon yung praise. And this way, maganda yung magiging result nito. Kasi sa study, yung mga bata na laging pinipraise is nagiging maganda yung kanilang parang maganda yung kanilang pag lumaki sila, parang mga more successful sila. Kasi naiisip nila na hindi lagi ng ginagawa nila mali. So, as teacher or moms, iwasan po natin yung lagi tayong kino-correct natin yung ating mga anak or ating mga students in front of a lot, especially in front of a lot of people.
Yes, I agree with that, Miss Jenny. Can I add?
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason why I also put this a good feedback system, use high ratio of praise to corrections, and we try to create a safe environment to commit failures and learn from it. Because in the real setup, in the real world, hindi po natin may iwasan na magkamali. But the important thing for our students to learn is that whenever we fail, whenever we commit a mistake, we own up to it, we take responsibility for it, and let's not create an environment wherein they would be scared and they would be boxed. Because what we want them to do is that to go out of their comfort zone, go beyond and grow. Diba? Yun yung pinaka-importante para sa ating mga teachers, diba? Nakaka-proud yun kapag nakikita mo na, ay, ano na siya ngayon, nasa bangko na siya ngayon nagtatrabaho, ay, sa IT na siya, teacher na rin siya. Diba? Pag nakikita niyo yung mga estudyante niyo, may mga teachers ako na mga inad ako sa Facebook, elementary teachers. Yan. So, I think they're very happy seeing different students and then seeing their successes. And kinukwento rin nila yan sa amin. Di ba? Nag-storytelling kayo kapag nakita ko yung ganitong estudyante ko dati. Successful na siya ngayon. So yun, I think this is actually one of the culture of Filipino families na maging perfection. Bakit mababa yung grade mo? Dapat perfect. Miss Jenny, ganito ka ba?
Ay, ako hindi.
Dapat na perfect
ako sa mga
score.
I don't pressure them.
Ayan. Yes.
Lagi lang nilang
so,
sinasabi
same
na
thing
yung
with
mga... Then?
Yes.
Lagi lang nilang sinasabi na yung mga parents daw, yung mga mom daw, may paborito, pero hindi talaga. We are just applying this strategy. Na kailangan, lagi mo ito-praise ang mga anak mo.
Yes. Thank you for sharing us with this one, Miss Jenny. And for our teachers who are watching us live on Facebook, you guys can also put in comments, suggestions on how do you create a good feedback system for your students in classroom. And also, of course, our Zoom participants, you can put in our chat box, what are your different ways to praise or give recognition, or how do you give feedback to a student who might not be performing well? Ayan. I'll wait for your answers. I'll read through them. Ms. Jen?
Okay, next. Create a routine. Sorry. Create a routine. Okay. So, meron kasi mga student na routinary sila eh. Meron silang ginagawa kahit na, for example, during the lessons. Reassure the students to love yung mga routines nila. For as long as hindi naman ito harmful. For example, yung isang bata is merong isang routine during your lessons, di ba? Wag mo agad sabihin sa kanya na palitan nyo yun kasi pangit. Kasi hindi natin alam, that routine might help him para maging madali sa kanya yung learnings. Mas kapag ginagawa niya itong routine nito, mas nag-excel siya, ganyan. Tapos, hayaan lang natin yung i-maintain yung routine na yon kapag helpful naman sa kanya. And then maybe, pwede mo naman siyang i-change sa ibang aspect or sa ibang area. Parang that's the way of teaching them na wag mo itong gawin, hindi ganon, hindi siya direct. Napapansin mo din, yung kunwari, yes, yung mga bata na nag-aano ng ballpen, yung like that, nagpapaganyan during na nagde-discuss sila.
Wait lang, may ballpen ako.
May ballpen ka, gawin mo daw din. Di ba?
Nagaganyan yung ballpen.
Ganyan. Tapos napapatunog nila sa table nila, di ba? Minsan, routine na nila yun na ginagawa nila. May mga iba na teachers, siyempre parang naiirita sila kung nakikita nila yon kasi baka nadidistract niya yung ibang mga student, di ba? Pero kasi may mga students na kapag ginagawa nila yun, nakakapag-isip sila ng mabilis, nakakapagbigay sila ng idea na mga ganda. So, paano mo ba sasabihin na minsan sa bata na tigilan mo yung pagpe-play ng stop playing with your pens, you might distract your classmates. No, hindi mo yan sasabihin. You ask her or him why ginagawa niya yon, lalabas yun. Kasi makikita niya, sabi niya, teacher, kapag ginagawa ko po ito or yan, lalo ako nagiging bright, gano'n, di ba? Lagi akong nakakapag-share ng mga ideas sa classmates ko. So, sasabihan mo siya in a way na helpful naman pala yon. So, huwag mo siya sasabihan na stop niya yon. So, better siguro sabihan mo siya, medyo mahina lang para hindi ma-distract yung mga classmates niya. Can you add on that, then?
Oo nga. Miss Jen. Kasi minsan nagaganon din ako eh. Lalo na kapag yung ballpen ko napipindot. Diba? Parang, ang sarap niyang, tawag din fidget eh. Nag-fidget yung daliri mo while you're thinking. Also, one study says that, let's say if you're chewing gum, it actually helps you, when you're reviewing, it actually helps you retain the information that you're studying. So, ako naman ngayon, since wala masyadong mabilhan ng pagkain sa labas, so, ang ginagawa ko whenever I'm thinking, my routine is either I have a drink with me or I have nuts. May mani ako na kinakain or cornic, ganyan. Basta meron akong kinakain, lalo na kapag kailangan ko mag-isip. Ano yan eh, fuel for the brain. Yan. But just to also add, dami kong personal sharing, but to also add on creating a routine, this can also be a routine that would set the mood for learning. So what do I mean po? Sa office, meron kaming tinatawag na daily stand-up or daily scrum. Daily stand-up, it's only for 15 minutes that we get to meet and update each other on what's happening already or what's the progress in our projects. So every day, 15 minutes, okay? 15 minutes or less, depende kung gaano kabilis magsalita yung mga tao. In terms of creating a routine kasi, we get to create a behavior, we get to wire the brain na kapag ginawa namin to, after nito, mag-aaral na ako. Okay. So sa school dati, it could be that, I remember grade 3, okay, grade 3, doon kami laging may recitation. Buong klase, nagre-recite kami ng poems. Kumakanta kami, nagdadasal kami. Lahat yun, ginagawa namin before kami mag-start ng klase. So parang after that, after those activities or those routine, alam mo na after nun, study time na. Kasi done ka na with your physical activity, done ka na with releasing your energy, yung excess energy. Kapag bata kasi madaming energy eh. So that's also something that would set the mood for learning because there's already a routine na after nito may exam kami. After ng ganitong activity, magbabasa na kami ng new chapter sa book. Ayun lang. Di ba, Miss Jenny? Miss Bas? Yun.
Oo, yes.
I'm not
Natuwa
sure kung
naman ako
nare-report
doon.
niyo ba yung mga ganong activities.
Oo, natuwa naman ako na marinig na sa age mo pala nung nag-aaral ka is nag-start pa rin sa kakanta yung bata or magtutula, ganyan. Kasi akala ko lang nung 1970s, nung panahon ko, na bago kami mag-start ng klase, pinapakanta kayo isa-isa. Hindi lang pala yun basta kakanta, no? Then, no? Meron din pala siyang nagagawa sa brain natin na stimulate siya, ganyan, di ba? Before you start up with classes. That's nice then for sharing. Can we go to the next?
Sorry. I was just checking the chat box. For those who have questions, please use our Q&A button. And dun siya sa panel nyo, either at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen. Please use our Q&A button so that we get to see your questions right away, okay? Especially to the panelists. Kasi natatabunan po yung chat natin. Alright, ayun lang po. Miss Jen, you're on mute. You're okay?
Can we continue the 5 to 6 then?
Okay. All right. Okay. So next is prepare them for changes. Give them a heads up before a change happens. Why? So because we're already creating a routine, no, to get their mindset ready for studying. Whenever there are changes, let's say in terms of ganito yan eh. Let's say kung wari sa steps sa sayaw, di ba? Kapag may changes doon sa sayaw na una mong nakabisado from intro to chorus, malilito ka and you won't get comfortable. Parang mawawala yung comfort level mo na kabisado ko na yung start to chorus, bakit biglang magkakaroon ng bago doon sa choreography or bakit magkakaroon ng change? Okay. Well, we have to inform them why is the change happening. Especially to a kid. I had an example last time where there's an adaptability struggle especially for preschoolers, okay, toddlers who will be going to school this year. The change is that it's gonna be within the four corners of their room in the house, and it's going to be isolated in a study table. So with that change, that's actually a big change in mindset for kids. No, we get to change the venue or the locale of where are they going to have their school. The expectation before is that they get to meet friends, but now they get to meet them on screen. So with these changes, we give them the heads up. Why was there a change? Okay, and why is the change happening? So that we can prepare them. Not just in terms of physical resources like the laptop, the Wi-Fi, and everything, but to actually prepare them emotionally. Okay? Emotionally and mentally, because it really affects students in terms of changes. Kasi although in the real setup, just like what Miss Jenny is discussing about adaptability and flexibility earlier, change is inevitable. It's always happening around us. We might just not notice it right away, but there are changes happening little by little. So how do we prepare them for changes? So changes in terms of paano pala biglang nagbago ng facilitator or ng teacher in the middle of the school year. Paano nila tatanggapin yun? Ay, sobrang masaya na ako kay Teacher A. Bakit biglang si Teacher B na yung magtuturo sa amin? So we have to prepare them gradually or little by little depending on the gravity of the change that we will bring upon them. So let's say if it's a small change, if it's a minor change, a simple message, a chat, or a simple message, a chat will do. But if it's a big change in terms of the whole lesson plan or bigla nagbago yung project na bibigay nyo sa kanila kasi required ng school, ganito na dapat yung ipapasa. So with these types of changes, we also have to be there for them to go through it. Okay. Miss Jenny, Miss Bass, anything to add about preparing them for changes? Okay. Okay, I'm good to go to the next slide. Miss Bass? Okay. All right. Next is build collaborative partnerships with students. Build collaborative partnerships meaning gusto nyong kunin yung kiliti nila, gusto nyong kunin yung tiwala nila as students, right? Actually, madali lang gawin yon para sa mga estudyante. Just as long as you talk within their language. Okay. So for us to understand each other, we have to study, right? We have to learn Filipino, we have to learn English. If you're talking to a Japanese person, you have to also learn Nihongo. You also have to somehow know the basics and get a translator later on. Joke lang. But for us to do that is actually to be open in terms of communicating. I think one of the tips that was also given last time is that one of the benefits of e-learning or learning in synchronous or asynchronous way is that there is an informal relationship or informal way of teaching and reaching out to students. So parang ganito, we're just talking to each other. We're very comfortable because we don't get to feel your presence at the moment. So hindi kami matatakot sa'yo. Okay. We want to build that type of relationship wherein our students are comfortable talking to us. All right, because this way, it would be easier for them to accept what are the information that we are feeding them. Right? Di ba kahit sa trabaho, kapag hindi mo gusto yung tao, okay, hindi mo siya kakausapin. Pero kapag friends kayo, it's easier for you guys to work with each other. Tama, Miss Jen, Miss Bass, pag kilala mo yung tao and hindi ka nahihiya sa kanila, it's easier to actually get things done.
Agree on that then. Mas marami kayong ideas kasi parang free-flowing lang yung inyong yung conversation ninyo eh. So that is how important a collaboration is. And let me also add then, no, ito din yung time na for teachers na makapag-collaborate sa mga co-teachers nila or sa ibang teachers sa other school. For example, yung kung ano yung best practice nila, i-share nila dun sa mga ibang teachers sa other school or sila naman makaget ng mga best practice ng mga other teachers sa other school through collaboration. Naalala mo yung sa MEA natin, di ba? Parang wala pang pandemic noon. Ang sabi na nila, yung mga virtual na ganito, magagamit doon ng mga teacher. Ang thinking pa lang natin doon is yung mga remote area na mga schools, na mga pwede natin silang ma-reach through, makapag-collaborate through internet. Pero now, globally, ginagamit na natin to. So, the more of it, the more collaboration, I think. And I suggest.
Yes, agree with that, Miss Jen. Don't be shy on asking for help. Sometimes it's really what you just needed. A support system, di ba? With other teachers. Kasi sino-sino pa ba magkakaintindihan? And of course, lastly is know yourself. Okay, what do we mean by this? Last time, when we were talking about understanding our learners, we also shared with you a link of how can you evaluate or assess yourself of what kind of a learner you are. So this way, it's easier for you to also empathize with other students because that's the best way that we could find different strategies and we could plan out how we want to share the lessons with them. It's knowing yourself. If you also know that you have your own challenges and your own difficulties, then it's easy for you to put yourself in the shoes of the students who are also having a hard time. Yun. So that's knowing yourself. Yeah, we get to reflect. Tama ba yung ginawa ko? Parang mali ata yung pagkakasabi ko. Parang medyo mataray ata yung. Tama ba, Miss Bass? Know yourself so that you get to empathize better and understand the feelings of others.
Yes, that's correct. And our teachers, correct yan din. Tsaka ang teachers talaga natin, our educators are really, sila, sabi ko nga in the last session natin, sila yung second parent eh. So kung si parent ay naiintindihan yung mga anak nila, ganun din si teacher. So para may empathy din dapat si teacher. Kasi it fosters the relationship building. So I guess, so Dan and Miss Jenny have discussed some 8 tips, no? Just to, I was making actually a reflection on all of it. So as you can see in the screen, makikita nyo lahat-lahat. I don't need to read it again. Maybe you can also try to read it on your own. But on my reflection on what I have heard, I think educators or teachers will be acting as a coach to our students. Dun yung help students na problem solve. Yung hindi mo lang sila bibigyan ng sagot, tuturuan mo din sila kung paano sasagutin yung problema. Parang ganun siya. So that's why parang it's anchored to the self-advocacy skills. Kasi when para siyang yung anecdote sa Bible na para lang you don't just give them, you teach them how to fish, kumbaga. Parang ganun lang siya. So it's really more of a coach. And then I saw a comment pala on the chat na merong mga parents din na hindi handa sa new normal. I really understand and acknowledge po yan, ma'am. It's not just the teachers, it's also the students and also the parents. We are all adjusting. So I think the best way really is that we help each other. We take a look at it that parents should be our partners as well in this journey. Wala din naman po kasing handa sa ganitong pangyayari, but the least that we can do is to help each other for us to really build a good learning environment for our students. Another way is another one that strike me as well is that regardless if it's an online or a physical class, the ratio of praise over corrections is still there. Kahit naman online, pwede naman tayong sabihin na, you're so neat today, ang galing-galing mo ngayon with the oral recitation. Nandun pa din, and if there's some need for correction, nandun pa din siya. Kung ang need ng correction ay hindi kailangan, we practice also yung praise in public, reprimand in private, kumbaga. As well, yung routines, we respect as well the routines kasi there are students like paano ba, on the first day of class, parang 8 o'clock, halimbawa 8 o'clock ng klase, sanay sila na 8 o'clock magpe-prayer, mayroong action song. May action song pa ba ngayon? Sorry ha. Sa panahon ko parang may ganun eh.
Mas may flag ceremony.
Flag ceremony. Oo.
Pag narinig ko yung tugtog, bababa na kami.
Yung bell, yung ganon. Kasi minsan, it really creates, tama si Dan yung sinabi niya kanina, na it really creates yung feeling na, okay, dahil narinig ko na yan or ginagawa ko na yan, it's really time for my class today. It's really time for me to learn at this moment in time. So, ganon. And then, yung flexibility kasi is hindi lang siya din, hindi mo lang siya sinasabi. The best thing that us educators can do is do really, kumbaga leadership by example. So, yun nga ang sinabi. Kung halimbawa, walang internet, mahina ang internet. So, pwede mo ding sabihin sa estudyante na dahil mahina ang internet mo ngayon, pwede bang we can do, I can give you an assignment so that you can work on it. So, alam ni student na ito pala yung sinasabi na flexibility. You nag-a-adjust ka, kumbaga. Ano pa ba? Ang dami kong notes eh. Actually, while listening to Miss Jenny, I'm just really picking up something so that I could share my thoughts to you as educators as well. My last pala, I have one last reflection, and that is that kailangan we know ourselves as a teacher as well. Mahirap talaga tong panahon yun, but if we need help, there's no harm in asking help. Ms. Jenny mentioned a while ago that if we need reinforcement, we need to join network of teachers so that we could learn what are the strategies that might work best for them. It might be working for your school or for your class. Kung hindi man, you might do some tweaking. Collaborative partnership with your network of peers or your co-teachers will really help each one of us educators in, kumbaga, what's the right term, in enduring this now normal. So I guess Dan and Miss Jenny, that sums it up. I hope I covered everything, and I hope you pick up some tips on it as well.
Yes, Ms. Bas, thank you for that. And I see that a lot of teachers actually sent their feedback and answers from your questions, so they're very much engaged. I hope that all of the teachers also get to read the chat box to get new ideas or solutions, best practices of other teachers as well. All right, so now moving. Yes?
Before we move to the next topic, I'd like to add lang this to love. Agape ba yun? Yung love, kind of love na agape love, di ba? So, bakit to love? Two, one is that yung love ng teachers sa work na ginagawa nila. And then, the second love is yung love for their students even they are not lovable. Given this, magagawa nila yung lahat ng bagay. Yun lang. You can go to the next then.
Very motherly talaga si Miss Jenny. Kaya love namin siya lahat sa HR. Ayan. So, the next thing that we are going to share with everyone are 5 tips or strategies of how you can become a teacher in the now normal. Okay. Ayan. So here are 5 teaching strategies. So we have the SWOT strategies before, right? So study without peers. Okay. So hindi po siya yung SWOT analysis na ginagawa natin ng college, ha? So SWOT strategy means study without peers. Number 1 is that, I'm just gonna minimize this. Teaching strategies for all types of learners. So from our first subtopic, okay, again, remember that all students are created equally and differently. So with that, we have to create our differentiated instructions that would address different types of learners, whether you are visual, auditory, reader, writer, and kinesthetic. Okay, and of course, Gardner's 8 multiple intelligences. So I won't go too deep on that anymore, but always remember that when we create our lesson plans, when we create our modules, all of these learners should be given equal opportunities for learning and encourage them further to do better on their own. Next, use technology to stay connected. Okay, so we must create and foster that collaborative relationship, no other than the use of technology. So again, speaking on their own language is actually getting in touch with them. Well, Facebook nowadays is not just for social media, posting selfies, Okay, it's also number one tool for us to communicate with our friends and families. If you don't find Facebook reliable or formal for you guys, what you can have are other types of social media or communication platforms such as Viber, okay? Viber for the parents, WhatsApp, Google Meet, ano nga yun sa Google? Hangouts. Yan. So those are some of the applications that you can use that would only be addressing your students. Kasi kapag Facebook, marami nga namang distractions. No? But one thing that you can also use as a communication tool of getting connected is Microsoft Teams. Okay? So if you create your Microsoft account that is for free or Outlook account, Microsoft Teams actually has a lot of features that you can use to teach students, to share files, to grade them, or others also use Google Classroom. Google Classroom is also free. So, explore lang po and YouTube, kaya natin to. Next. Sorry. Next, foster student relationships, as what we have been discussing all throughout our session for all the three subtopics. No? The number one thing and most important thing would be fostering relationship with your students. Because if we don't get to build that engagement or connection, they won't listen to us. Okay, so that's the important thing. We engage our students. Okay, we share with them a bit some of our personal lives. Okay, so that they would try to put down the barrier and be open to everyone. Okay, be open about having difficulties, be open about their lessons, be open about their family, so that we get to understand them better. Being a teacher is very challenging because you're parenting. Okay, you're parenting students. You're not just parenting one or two people, but you're parenting 20, 30, or 50 students pa nga in some cases, di ba? So it's really difficult to foster that relationship. Number 4, be open and forward thinking. So be open, hindi po sa networking open-minded ka pa. Okay, so be open and learning and be forward thinking. So whenever we solve problems or we never address issues, always think of the consequences, what will happen in the future. Makakabubuti ba siya? What are the risks that will be happening? Be open is admitting that you're not the expert of everything. Okay? So even though I know some things, I might not know everything about this person. So I might be good at one thing, Miss Jen can be good at another thing, and Miss Bass is very talented in another thing. So be open that we're not the only experts in the world. We're not the only experts as teachers, but there are also some things that we can learn from students. Be open to everything. So yeah, actually one of my mantra is always say yes, especially if to situations, not to people. No? Always say yes. And of course, yeah, it has its setbacks, but maximize our potential is always saying yes. Miss Jen, Miss Bass, feel free to interrupt if you have any other suggestions or comments to add. Okay. And number 5 is embracing change. Okay. So this is what we're all doing right now, diba? So we're all embracing change. I think one of the most difficult changes that I have to embrace during this pandemic is working from home. Okay, it might not look like it, but it's difficult because I was so used to talking to people. Personally, hindi ba halata? Yan. So, I'm very used to talking to people. instead of calling them over the phone or texting them, I would actually go to their room and ask. So that I get direct feedback, I get to have small talks and chika. Yan, mga chika minute. Um, pag medyo naboboard or nasasabaw na ako sa ginagawa ko, I would stand up, literally, I would stand up, go to another person's table, and ask. Okay, ask questions. Kamusta ka? Ganyan. So, it's really a big change for me. It was totally different because I have no person to talk to. Okay, especially if you're in the house. My siblings or my sisters would also be working on their own. So I don't have anyone to talk to right away. And we have to be placed in different areas of the house so that we don't get to hear each other when we're talking. So yeah, embracing change, it could let you grow, di ba? Sabi nga ni sabi nga sa isang quote is that do something that scares you every day. So if you're not doing that, it means that you're not letting yourself grow further, right? Miss Jen, Miss Bass, anything that you would want to add on embracing change? Kayo yung maraming na-experience sa changes na sa Union Bank eh.
Grabe naman din, maraming changes. Parang 4 na banks pa lang ang nag-join sa atin. Magmula nang dumating ako. No kidding aside. Embrace change. Yan yung maganda rin na katangian ng, hindi ko lang masasabi mga teacher, pero as a Pilipino, mabilis tayong yumakap sa mga pagbabago. Mapapansin mo din kapag pumunta yung, hindi pa ako kasi nag-iibang bansa eh. Pagka nag-work sila abroad, di ba maraming mga kostumbre, marami silang mga bagay doon na iba sa atin. Pero mapapansin mo, 6 months pa lang, iba ka na. Parang iba na rin yung pagsasalita mo, yung diction mo, ganyan. Tapos madali din silang nakaka-adapt dun sa change ng environment kasi mabilis tayong mag-embrace ng change. Yan yung maganda sa atin.
I think, Miss Jenny, embracing changes can also be acquainted to adaptability.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yung concept na introduced kanina. Yan, adaptability. Yan. Sabi nila, sir, sa chat, the only thing that is constant in this world is change. Yan. So we must be able to embrace those changes little by little. Okay. So, Ms. Jen, would you like to discuss this benefit of learning from home?
Okay. Learning can become a family time. For me then, ako ito, na-value ko to, yung learning can be a family time. Kasi for us, di ba, naka-work from home din tayo. Meron tayong mga schedule ng return to office. Mas marami pa rin yung work from home natin. So, at first, noong March, di ba, tayo pa lang yung nagwo-work from home. Then, came August, mag-start na yung classes ng mga anak namin. Actually, ako lang po yung may anak dito dahil sila yung mga dalaga. Nakita na namin na pagkatapos ko ng mag-work from home, kakausapin ko yung mga anak ko. So, parang ang saya-saya kasi aminin ko, ito na yung pinakamahabang araw, oras na nag-stay ako na complete yung family ko. And then, 2 na lang kasi nag-aaral sa mga anak ko kasi nag-graduate na yung isa. So, natututukan namin yung bunso. So, in a way, para tong bonding. So, sinasabi na namin sa kanya, Lance, ano ba yung gagamitin nyo? Google ba? Zoom? Or what? So, ready ka na doon practice tayo dito kung papaano parang nagre-recite ka sa school. Came August. Sinabi ko na yon nung March. Sinabi ko na rin siya habang pasulong. So, ngayon, parang ang kita ko sa pag-aaral na nag-aaral yung bata sa bahay, ako naman nag-work from home, bonding talaga yon. And let us value this time na nagugugol natin sa family natin. I think this is Ano ba yung turbo dyan then? Quality time. Imagine niyo, nag-work tayo, sumusweldo tayo, pero kasama po natin yung mga family natin. Mahirap yung sitwasyon natin because may pandemic. Pero tingnan natin sa always on a positive side. Tingnan natin na despite nangyari itong pandemic na to, unang-una sabi nga ni Bas, hindi lang po tayo. Buong mundo po nangyayari ito. So ano ba yung pasasalamat natin? May work tayo, nagagawa natin sa bahay natin dahil ginawan tayo ng pamahalaan ng programa na hindi ma-distract ang education system. Nasa bahay tayo, hindi na tayo kailangan mag-commute at mawawala yung the fear of na makontaminate tayo or mahawa tayo or magkasakit tayo is wala na doon. Yung blessing na kasama mo, yung family mo, yung husband mo, yung wife mo, at ang buong pamilya ninyo, di ba? Napakaganda na po na na pangyayari sa isang malungkot na pandemic na ito. So, tingnan natin ang mga bagay sa always on a positive side, sabi nga natin. Hindi po yun madali. Alam po natin na hindi iyon madali. Pero lagi lang natin i-practice yung ganong way of thinking. Always look on a positive side. And this pandemic, and this learning system na binibigay niyo po sa mga anak namin is sabihin natin para na ring bonding time para sa pamilya natin. And ako as a mom, nagpapasalamat talaga ako at nagva-value ako sa mga teachers. Kasi yung bagay na ginagawa nila is hindi ko kayang gawin. Kaya nga before, di ba, nung formal pa yung mga sa classroom pa, di ba? Lagi ako nagsasabi na nandiyan naman si teacher and then I am very thankful to them kasi yung mga bagay na magagawa nila, hindi ko kayang gawin. Pero ngayon, 3 na kami. Si teacher, si parents or guardian, at saka si student. So, parang family na lang talaga tayo. We're 3.
Yes.
And thanks for that, teacher.
Tama ka, Jen. Thank you. Next. All right. So, since we are all working from home, studying from home, of course, we have these challenges, no? Like in terms of connectivity, distractions from the social media, even for our teachers, aminin. Okay, so meron din tayong mga teachers na distracted, nanonood ng YouTube on the side or nagpo-Facebook. Okay, selfie muna bago gumawa ng module. Alright, so I know that these are the daily distractions that we have. So with these challenges, of course, may household chores pa tayo. Chores can be done early in the morning or during your lunchtime. So it's a matter of time management. Next is make it difficult for you to access your social media account whenever you are working. That's number 1. Or in other terms, disconnect. Okay? So in recent studies or in psychology studies before is that disconnection seemed like a bad thing when it comes to disconnecting or being away from things that gives you value. But during this pandemic, I think one of the many things that people have realized is that disconnection is not always a bad thing. Okay? We are spending so much time connected. Tama? So we're online 24/7. Lagi tayo may ka-chat, lagi tayo may tinitignan na memes sa Facebook. Right? Kahit nag-work tayo, naka-online tayo sa Facebook, naka-online tayo sa Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Pag break time mo, nag-YouTube ka o kaya nag-Netflix ka. But disconnecting, let's say taking a break from your social media, from disconnecting from the Wi-Fi, just like what's happening on my connection. Joke lang. This gives us time to reflect, right? This gives us more meaningful disconnection from the world. Because sometimes magkakatabi na kayo, magkakatapat na kayo sa pantry, magkakatapat na kayo sa sa teacher's room. Pero saan kayo nag-uusap? Sa chat. Okay? Magkasama kayo ng boyfriend, girlfriend nyo. Anong ginagawa nyo? Nagsa-cellphone, hindi kayo nag-uusap. Yan. Okay, so we spend so much time connected that we can now find meaningful disconnection from the world. Kapag bumabiyahe po ako before, I actually live far from our office. Whenever I travel, I don't use my cell phone. I only use it to update, let's say, sa text, ganyan, and all. But I don't check my phone when I'm traveling unless it's a call. Because if it's a call, it means that it's urgent. But if it's not, it means that it can wait until I get to the office. That's one thing, that's one of the times that I actually give for myself. Either I watch people or I watch other cars moving from the window. And what else? After work, if it's already after work, I turn off my laptop, I turn off my company phone. Because that's actually disconnecting, because you have to also give time for yourself, right? So I know that it can be very stressful for everyone na we're always connected. We're online 24/7, especially if we have a lot of work to do. So this time, we get to appreciate being disconnected from the world. Are you also doing this, Miss Zen, Miss Bass? Are you disconnecting from your Wi-Fi from time to time?
Yeah, I do then actually. Because sometimes, hindi natin namamalayan. I don't know, pero for my phone, there's a screen time. Parang meron siyang analytics na gano'n. So, na-alarm ako na, grabe pala, sometimes I spend on a weekend like 8-12 hours of screen time on a weekend, which is actually, I know naman what the reason is, because I do marathon. That's the only time I can do marathon of my K-drama. Pero the ultimate there is really so it eats up it eats a lot of your time. So meaning meron ka pa sanang ibang magagawa doon. So it could be a research for me that I could share to if I'm a teacher, I could do research for my next lesson. If I'm a student, that could be a time where I can do my homework, I can do my assignments, or even a time with my family, spend quality time with my family. So yeah, I agree on this that really not online 24/7 is it's not really a good thing at all. So you need time to na-discuss yata natin in the last natin, really time management.
Yes, agree. Miss Jen?
Ayun. Iwasan po natin na ma-burnout tayo. Yung alam mo yung mabilis yung takbo natin, go, go, go. Kasabay ng pagtakbo natin yung stress natin. Iwasan po yun. Parang pacing lang po tayo. Dahan-dahan. Though naka-work from home tayo or nagtiteach tayo at home, isipin natin na meron din naman tayo dapat oras for ourselves. Isipin natin dito sa panahon na to na mas may time tayo para sa sarili natin, dear teachers. Kasi mawawala yung time on traveling, di ba? Kapag naligo tayo, mabilis na. Tapos dito na agad yung parang school natin, di ba? Parang ito na yung office natin, ganyan. Lagi po tayong magkaroon ng time para sa sarili natin. Sa ganitong pandemic, ganitong sitwasyon, katulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, think of a positive side lagi siya. Nakaka-stress, yun pala dapat kailangan you should learn how to handle your stress. Kasi hindi na po yun talaga nawawala. Andiyan na siya. Isip na lang po tayo ng magandang paraan na para mawala yung stress natin. So sabi nga ni Miss Bass, di ba, I know how stressful din yung work, di ba? Nanonood siya ng K-drama sa weekend. I-try niyo rin po kung ano yung makakapagpasaya sa inyo. makakapag-distress sa inyo. Kasi regalo niyo po yun sa sarili niyo, sa pagtuturo niyo sa aming mga anak.
All right. Sige. So, thank you, Ms. Bass, Ms. Zen, for all your sharing. So, we now have questions that are in our Q&A box. The first question is how to be more efficient on collaborating with parents now that we are experiencing pandemic. Collaborating with parents is actually one thing, no? I think same person naman to. So learning can become a family time. But how about those children that both parents are working? Okay. So I think I can answer yung how about those children that both parents are working. So growing up, okay, so I studied in a public school and I was part of the science class. I'm not sure how they call it now, but it was an experimental batch for us wherein there were only around 26 of us who graduated from the science class. Imagine all the stress students have to go through competing for grades for you not to fall out of the class. Because if you fall out of the class, you'll be part of the you'll be part of those normal classes. So, and I don't want to disappoint my parents. Both of my parents are working during that time, and I needed guidance as well. So I think the environment, what we have discussed right now is on flexible learning, is that teachers really helped me a lot. I get to challenge myself and I get to prove myself and do well in school because of my teachers. I may not have my parents with me all the time to guide me through my learnings or my study time because I was already taught in school how to become responsible. Yun. So that's one thing I think. So being independent, being able to adapt, being versatile, and being responsible and owning up to my actions is actually some of the values that I was able to learn from my teachers. So I think flexible learning environment really helps well hone and mold a student and produce someone that you would really be proud of. So there. And I think for the collaboration on parents, Miss Jenny, Miss Bass, what are the tips that you can give?
For me then, siguro I suggest na, di ba may mga virtual meetings with the kids, di ba? Pwede rin tayong magpa-virtual meeting with the parents. Parang ito na yung PTA meeting, pero virtual nga lang siya. So,
yeah.
yes, let us parang enforce this or parang paalalahanan din yung mga moms, yung mga guardian, yung mga parents na ito na po tayo ngayon, ito na po yung sitwasyon natin. So, have sharing there na nag-suggest ka po, ito yung maganda po, ganito. Kung hindi possible, like katulad nga ng sabi ng nag-ask, si Ms. Gona, paano naman yung learning, family time, ang learning kapag ka-working sila. So, hindi po kasi natin yun maiaalis na kailangan din nating mag-work. Pero sa ngayon kasi, karamihan sa mga parents is naka-work from home. Kung hindi man, maaga po yung uwian. Yun nga yung maganda kasi maaga sila ngayon nagpapawi kasi may curfew. So, dun sa meeting natin with the parents, dun natin sabihin na i-check nila yung kanilang mga anak, ganyan. Or, I'm sure may mga ates or kuyas na naiwan. Sa part ko kasi, ganun Ms. Rosel, naiiwan kasi sa amin sa ngayon is yung kanilang yung ates nila. Ates na. Kasi isa na lang po yung medyo tinututukan namin. Actually, college na yung isa na maiiwang mag-aaral. Tapos, from time to time, kunwari, break namin, lagi kong ina-ask yung anak ko, o Lance, kamusta na? Ano naman ngayon yung lesson? Ano naman yung ginawa ninyo? Kamusta? May bago ka bang classmate? Kamusta ba si teacher? Ganyan. Nagsagot ka ba? Okay ba yung area mo kung saan ka nag-aaral? At unang-una ko tinatanong, malakas ba yung wifi mo? Yun. Ganun yung mga ginagawa ko as parents. And I'm sure yung karamihan din ng mga parents is kung wala sila dahil hindi nila magagawa yon dahil nag-work sila, I'm sure sa gabi, matutulungan din naman nila yung kanilang mga anak na magpa-wrap up kung ano yung lesson na ginawa nila sa school ngayon, kung ano yung virtual lesson nila ngayon. Yun po yung suggestion ko. Magkaroon din po tayo ng ng virtual meetings with the parents. Parang na lang po, gawin na lang po natin kaswalan lang, kamustahan, ganyan. Kasi ganito din po sa office ngayon meron kaming kamustahan sa immediate boss namin. Not necessarily work yung pag-uusapan, pwedeng live, pwedeng anything, mga pinapanood nila or what. Anything and everything under the sun, ika nga. Para maging kaswalan lang po yung conversation.
Agree, Ms. Jen. Actually, dalawa po sa pamangkin ko are studying enrolled na pala in public school. So the school year, as I think, was moved to October to give way for the other modes of learning, other modalities of learning. So other teachers would actually have a Facebook group chat or Facebook group page. So yeah, so we just have to be more creative in how we get in touch with teachers. Others naman would be very generous in giving out their cell phone numbers so that they can communicate well with parents, yeah, especially kapag may issue sa anak. The next question from Ms. Rowena is quite difficult and challenging. No? How can a teacher become effective in a remote area with no internet access and only modular learning for modality? So I think this one is very broad. It's the issue right now. That's why the school year was moved right to October because of the printing. For me, what I suggest kapag magiging modular training na tayo is that we just have to be more extra. We have to be extra in terms of our efforts as teachers. Since it's modular, we have to check their papers, di ba, from time to time. Parang sa thesis natin dati, as much as possible, wag po tayong gumamit ng red ball pen. Kasi pag red ball pen, parang masakit sa puso yun, basahin ng mga bata. The number one thing that you could do for modular learning in terms of being effective is writing notes and feedback on how your students answered the module. Like, for example, meron akong kaklase dati na hindi talaga siya magaling mag-English or in terms of writing, hindi siya magaling magsulat. Through exercises and other activities in terms of essay writing. So, continuously essay writing. Ang ginawa ng teacher ko noon is that every time na magsasubmit siya, nilalagyan yung comments lahat. How can you improve this statement? How can you improve that? What are the other ways of saying this? So I think yun yung one of the ways that we can be effective teachers is giving feedback. Feedback is whether good or bad should be helpful in terms of learning. But let's say in terms of internet access, kung wala po talaga, I think that one we have to be creative na lang din on how we would be giving practical activities or paperwork to our students. I think that would be okay, no? Oh, dami nating questions. Next, paano po i-address yung mga parents na close-minded na hindi man lang nakikialam sa whereabouts ng anak niya? And then when it comes to the education of their children, especially during this time of pandemic. That's from Ms. Jenny and Echanes. And then, para sa online learning, kung mag-oral participation ka sa mga students, hindi maiwasan na mayroong students na hindi alam ang sagot. May maraming dahilan katulad ng mahina signal, hindi nila marinig, or iba pa, ano ang intervention natin dito? Sige. For the parents, pag mga parenting po, ipapasa ko po kay Ms. Jenny siya. sige, for the parents na who are not open in terms of giving their children the education during this time ng pandemic.
Akin, nahirap yung question, di ba? Naramdaman ko tuloy yung hirap ng mga teachers na pagdadaanan nila, lalo na dun sa mga remote area nga. Parang sakit sa heart. Ang sa akin lang, sa mga narinig ko or mga na may experience din sa mga iba, siguro po for those na mga parents na walang pakialam sa kanilang mga anak, i-reverse psychology po natin sila. Padalhan natin sila ng something, kamusta, note or what, or anything na food or note, ganyan lang sa kanila. Tapos parang, dire-diretso lang natin silang kamustahin yung anak nila. Baka dumating din po yung panahon na magkaroon din po siya ng, pakailan po ba yan? Or i-mind nila yung anak nila sa kanilang pag-aaral. Yung intindihin nila yung anak nila sa pag-aaral. Kasi meron po akong nabasa dati na parang sobrang sama niya ang sama-sama niya dun sa kapitbahay niya, parang lahat, pinapakain yung mga tanim nila, ganyan. Pero hindi pa rin niya siya tinigilan na magbigay ng magandang example hanggang sa lumambot po yung puso ng kapitbahay at naging mabait. I-apply na lang po natin yon dito. Hindi ko alam kung it will work, pero mag-try lang din po tayo ng ganon. Kamustahin siya, puntahan siya, pero alam ko medyo mahirap po ngayon eh. Kahit na po text na lang siguro, ganyan kung meron man, or ipadaan natin sa anak niya yung mga pangangamusta sa kanya. Baka lang po lumambot din yung puso niya at magbago siya sa kanyang pananaw doon sa educational ng kanyang anak. Then I think si Ms. Ray meron din siyang want to answer this. Dinismiss niya na.
Ayan. So, thank you for that, Ms. Jenny. I think for close-minded parents, I think they have the right during the pandemic and all the challenges that we are experiencing. No? Kasi I think we have different level of stress and different level of problems of our own. So, nasa parents talaga minsan yung pag-allow sa students to let them study. So, I think this one, best efforts. So, wala namang mawawala as sa inyo if you get rejected by someone, diba? So, kuwari, sa panliligaw, wala namang mawawala sa'yo kapag di ka sinagot, diba? So, try ulit. Joke lang. Ayan. So, mahirap yung questions dito, Miss Bass. Okay. I answered another question via type. Tapos, last question na po. We're over time. Okay. So, is this program flexible enough in time and location to fit new normal? Yeah. So, all the questions were already answered. So, I know teachers, you still have a lot of questions in mind and you still have a lot of uncertainties. Please do attend our new set of facilitators and speakers for the next topic. I think it will now become more interactional and will give you more insights on how we can be successful in implementing online learning or distance learning to our students. Thank you very much. So next, we will now move on to the reminders on enrolling to heroes2021.org. So I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Thank you.
Hi, Miss Des. Hi, Miss Den. Thank you. So, to our teachers, sir and ma'am, if you have not enrolled yet in the Heroes course, konting kulit lang po today. So this platform in Heroes 2021 is our platform for asynchronous learning. So very easy lang naman po siya on how to register. So this is a video. Let me walk you through it. So this is you will proceed po. Just go to your browser, type Heroes 2021, and then just click the website. Yeah, this is the main page. Click new sign up, and then fill in your details lang po. Name, email, password. Yan, agree to terms and conditions, and then click enroll. And then you will proceed po to this page, click yung all courses. Yan. Tapos select nyo lang po yung Union Bank and City Savings Bank course. This is worth 3,000, but we will be giving this for free. Ito po yung main page. You will see here the schedule of the webinars. Kung naka-register na po kayo, just use the same link. If not, just click to register. Pero po yung access natin to the course curriculum, yan. Yung courses po natin is just 1 to 5 minutes long. So don't be discouraged po if you see the list na mahaba. Short lang po talaga siya. And then click all the way down, click enroll. Yan. And then, on this page po, you just add coupon. You can use the coupon provided by Union Bank or City Savings. Just type your coupon. So you could use either coupons po. So you could avail of the course for free. Ayaw nyo pong magbayad for sure. And then click apply. Yes. Thank you for enrolling. Yan po. And then you can go to the course curriculum. So you can start the lecture right away. So ganun lang po yung steps natin. So I hope you could enroll po. And we still have plenty of time to start the courses. Thank you, Ms. Den. If you could close and say your final thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, teachers, for listening with us or for being with us for the last 3 sessions. I hope we can all see you in the next sessions. There are a lot of us. A new team will be joining as well and sharing their expertise. I really hope that with this program, we imparted or really help you educators, our dearest teachers in this program. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our partners, the Thames. This is really such a good program. This really shows the bayanihan spirit of us Filipinos. Well, of course, I would also like to thank Union Bank and City Savings for giving us the opportunity to be in this program. Teachers, again, maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po kayo.
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Bass. Thames, thank you for having us. And of course, to our partners, Thames, Acad Asia, EdTheRescue, UB Accelerator, City Savings Bank, and of course, Union Bank, the bank that we came from. Thank you for having us, giving us this chance to do more and do better, make a difference in the lives of our teachers, despite the pandemic and all the challenges that we are experiencing. It's a very trying times, and we're experiencing trying times with the crisis, but I hope that everyone is okay. And sabi nga nila, laban lang. Okay? Laban lang and tiwala lang.
Tama din, laban lang. So, thank you din. Thanks to our partners for having us here. At saka, thank you din po sa mga teachers na nag-participate. Salamat din po sa pag-share ninyo sa amin at pag-share din namin sa inyo ng aming in our own little way kung paano po namin kayo matulungan sa panahon ng pandemic. Ito po ay isang maliit lang na bagay, pero masaya kami at kahit papaano ay nakapag-contribute kami sa hirap na nangyayari sa ngayon. Kung sabi nga ni Den, laban lang. Ako naman, sasabihin ko sa inyo, positive lang po tayo. Kaya natin to, lalong-lalo na sa tulong ng nasa taas. Pray lang tayo. Thank you, keep safe and keep healthy. Lee?
Yes, address ko lang po yung question about the certificate. Once you have completed the asynchronous classes in Heroes 2021, you will receive the certificate po. So you have to enroll and then complete the course. Thank you. And with that, thank you, Ms. Dan, Ms. Bass, and Ms. Chen.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
So we would like to invite everyone to our next live session for the next webinar on asynchronous and synchronous learning. I hope our teachers would also learn a lot on that. When to use and how to use asynchronous and synchronous learning. Thank you.